Oh my gosh. We're here with, I know. I'm really excited about this. A little bit of a skeptic, but I know you hear that often, Debra Silverman. Nothing new to you. Debra Silverman is on the show. If you are not familiar with this woman, oh my gosh, you're going to go to her website and fall in love. You're going to fall in love with her right now. She's in
You're going to fall in love with yourself.
and you're going to fall in love with yourself. Um, Longtime amazing astrologist. Even more than that, has a degree in psychology, has married the two for more than 2 decades of her work. And I wanted to have you wait, three or four.
I'm almost 70. Yeah. I've been doing this for almost 50 years.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, all right. The woman's got experience is what it comes down to. She's a pro. Debra, and I said to you before we started, what does it mean? I'm having you on right after the supermoon, the blue supermoon. So what does that mean for our interview?
There's an increase of energy. Think about it. Every time the moon is full, there is more activity in the hospitals with the policemen, with incredible emotional rides. It's an increase of voltage. It's a proven fact that the waters, even the water, the tides go up. So everything rises during a full moon. And obviously this was a big full moon. So it's worthy to pay attention when, oh, this is an auspicious moment, said the astrologer, that we're talking. We are right in the middle of the full moon right now.
Mm. Debra, let's go back to kind of set the scene for everybody. You grew up in Michigan. You kind of discovered astrology at a young age. Is that right?
Yeah, in the Detroit Free Press in the cartoon section. I was just a little girl and I saw the word astrology and it was like Christmas. And then I sent away, but I was so young at the time. I was just like in second or third grade. So it was obviously calling my name. Fast forward, I was in the end of high school and I had my first astrology reading and I was like, spooked me out. And then next thing you knew, I was studying it, but it didn't stand in the way of me going academia because I have a master's in clinical psychology. So I did traditional left brain science, but astrology is the oldest science on earth. It's been here for 4,000 years. Think about that.
I know that's really wild. How did you end up marrying the two? I mean, did you start out as a clinical psychologist? Were you seeing like couples that needed couples?
Yes, I've been the whole time. But Carl Jung, who was the original psychiatrist, was quoted to say, psychology will be a dinosaur science until it includes astrology. He was an astrologer. Carl Jung was a full-fledged astrologer. So he married them before I did. I found that out after I'd already put the two together. Like, wait, you come to a psychologist and you ask questions like, tell me about, do you love your mother? And then you look at the chart and go, ooh, you didn't have a very nice mother. I mean, the things are so clear. Why are we doing astrology without psychology?
Okay, how did you introduce that to your clients though? I mean, did
So
did they come in? Wait, it didn't go well. Yeah, I was gonna say they're near a divorce and you go, by the way, let's look at your birth chart. Like, how did that? I mean, they must not have liked that.
Well, I have a reputation and it started very young. When I was in my 20s, I had a radio show like you on live time radio in Vancouver, British Columbia. And it was when they were driving home from work. I don't know how this even happened. It was destiny. And so normal people that didn't believe in it all would hear me on the phone and I'd say things like, they'd say to me, am I getting married? And I go, are you in a relationship? Like, don't ask me stupid questions. Am I going to be rich? And I'd say, do you have a good job? Like, these are your decisions you're going to make, but I can tell you the propensity of your person you're dating or what your job suits you or not, but I can't predict what destiny has in mind. I can certainly explain your character to you. And that's how it began. And right at that point, I mean, my reputation let me be the quirky therapist who included astrology. Now it's super popular, but in the 80s when I was growing up, I was completely, I met a lot of resistance. Even in graduate school, they were like, don't tell me I did a research project on mental illness and astrology, and it was a huge correlation. And I came to it as a skeptic going like you, like, make me believe it. But if I talk to you about your chart, Sarah, can I?
Yeah, go into it.
I'm going to say one thing about you and you're going to go, how did she know that? It is so hard for you to make a decision. It's like the worst thing in the whole world is to say to Sarah, you got this, this, and this, and this. She's like, oh no, someone help me. Am I right or am I right?
You're 100% right. Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
How do I know that? Said the person with 4 planets in Libra. Did you know you have 4 planets in Libra?
No.
So decision making and the aesthetic in this world and colors and beauty is so much part of your life. Like if it doesn't match, it drives you nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. And yes, 100%.
And the decision making process is not your strong suit. So you have to have people around that you ask a million questions to. You collect all the data. Now you're even more confused. And then you wait for your intuition to scream at your name. And you're like, wow, that was a long route to what I already knew in the beginning.
Yeah. It's so true. Well, okay, talk to me. That was interesting what you said though about mental illness and the correlation of people's birth charts. How did those connect?
Well, so
Like
for
in your birth
example,
chart?
you have to communicate. Your chart is all about talking.
It is. Yeah, it drives my husband insane. Yeah, yeah. I love to talk it out. Yeah.
But if for some reason you were brought up where they wouldn't let you talk, this is what mental illness is. Mental illness, definitely there's a chemistry game. So let's just acknowledge that. Some people need antidepressants and some people really did come in with a broken circuit. But for a lot of people, it's their chart is not understandable. And they feel like there's a war going on inside of them and it creates anxiety and it makes them self-conscious and they don't feel socially comfortable. And when you learn your chart, you're like, wow, I don't have to talk. Or wow, I really have to talk to get this worked out. And there's two different characters. Look at all the mouths on the back of you. You have so many ears. That's they're all talking. So you have to communicate.
Actually, that's probably making me crazy. Actually, you're
Well,
right.
it's entertainment. You have a really high value for being able to understand people and ask a million questions. And that's what your function is. But what if somebody was brought up and their parents said, stop talking?
Mm.
They subdue. This is what depression is. We push down our nature and we get tired from having to hold back. On your case, they couldn't hold you back because it was your function, it was your destiny. And
Oh,
like destiny found you and said, come this way, Sarah. But for some of you listening to this, you can't remember what you signed up for. And that's why people go to an astrologer.
okay, that's why I wanted to have you on because I was telling you a lot of my audience are women that are and men that are type A that they think maybe they're on the path. They're so good at what they do, but maybe something's missing. And you wrote a fantastic book that everyone should buy called Missing Element. And I love this in the description. You say your issues will repeat themselves again and again until you see yourself and others from the compassionate vantage point that unites us all. And you say that astrology can actually help you fulfill your soul's purpose. So, for somebody listening, I mean, the day what does that mean? It's the day you were born, the year you were born, and why is it important where you were born? Like when you wanted my birthday, right? And where the time I was born and the day and the place I was born in Waterville, Maine.
That's
Okay,
right.
why does that mean anything?
Because we take a picture of the sky at the moment of your birth. The baby comes out, there's a photograph taken, and that instills the entire imprint. Like your soul's purpose, get ready. It's so
Okay,
different than
go into mine because I think it's a good example for people. And then I
no,
have
it's so simple. Because guess what? You're all that air. You've got so much air. You can talk and talk, and you're so curious and you're so interested, and everything gets your mind going, whoa, Nelly. But your soul is very deep and she's psychological and she wants secrets revealed and she doesn't want people to be superficial. So you have this incredible lighthearted spirit that goes inside and then underneath and then opens people up. And that's why we love to listen to you because you're not superficial. That's called Scorpio rising. So the rising sign is also called the ascendant. It's your higher self. And it tells the astrologer the clue of where to aim the person. So when a client comes to see me as a therapist and they're saying that they're really disappointed in themselves because they're always slightly depressed, I'm like, stop. You're Scorpio rising. You can't stand superficial. Of course, you're going to feel out of sorts when people start playing social and they're not going deep. You're going to feel self-conscious. On the other hand, there's some people who can't stand all the emotional stuff and they just want to be socially or creative and artistic and don't take me down that path called the dark. So there's different characters. Your case, you love going into the mystery and unraveling people's secrets.
I do. Oh my God. It's like, come sit next to me and tell me the dark thing.
Everything.
Tell me everything. Tell me everything. Um, and Debra, all right. So like over the years, I feel like decision making, you're right, has been hard for me. It takes me a very long time. Like even moving here to Los Angeles, I'm very much like the environment I live in, like it has to give me energy. I have to feel it. And when years ago, when I moved to Washington, D.C., and it gave me my career, everybody that listens to me now, I could feel it. Like it was like electric. I just knew when I lived there, like amazing things were going to happen. And then it ran its course, like probably year 12 into it. I was like, God, I got to do something. It took me several years after that to actually make the move to Los Angeles. And people said to me, and I want to know what the astrological thing is here. People said to me, well, Sarah, if you don't change inside, nothing's going to change when you move to LA.